Marahil ay kilala niyo na si Jose Rizal. Narinig ang kwento sa mga kilala, sa video o internet, at maski na rin sa paaralan. Oo, kilala natin si Rizal bilang pambansang bayani, manunulat at martir. Pero alam niyo ba na isa rin siyang progressive educator o guro? Sa video na to, we'll explore kung paano niya tinignan ang edukasyon, paano niya ito isinabuhay sa dapitan, at bakit dapat pa rin natin siya pakinggan sa mga isyong pang-edukasyon ngayon. Si Jose Protasio Rizal Mercado y Alonso Yolanda ay pinanganak noong 1861 at binitay sa Bagong Bayan noong 1896. Pero sa loob ng 35 taon ng kanyang buhay, siya ay naging doktor, manunulat, linguist, scientist, at teacher. Pinag-aral siya sa Ateneo, UST, tapos sa Europa. At ang kanyang pag-aaral ay hindi lang niya sa sarili ginamit. Ginamit niya ito upang ilagtad ang maling sistema ng kolonyal na edukasyon at tulungan ang bayang mamulat sa opresyon na nangyayari. Ang kanyang mga nobela, Noli Me Tangere at El Filibusterismo ay hindi lang love story o political satire. Isa itong malalim na kritik sa bulok ng sistema ng simbahan at paaralan noong panahon ng Kastila.
Critical insights on current educational concerns through the lens of Jose Rizal's anti-colonial and educational thought. While Jose Rizal, as an educational thinker, was far ahead of his time, right? His progressive practices during his exile in the Baton maybe reflect or greatly reflect an early form of what we now understand as learner-centered experiential education in teaching his relatives and townsfolk. Well, Jose Rizal designed an educational environment that highly emphasized not only intellectual growth, but also moral development, practical skill building, and cultural rootedness, a stark contrast to the colonial, religious, and rote-based instruction imposed during the Spanish occupation. While Rizal's educational philosophy speaks directly to several processing concerns in 21st century education. So, number one is like the shift from rote learning to experiential and critical thinking. While today educators continue to grapple with systems that prioritize memorization over critical thinking, while Rizal's use of nature specimens, homemade teaching materials, and practical demonstration underscores the value of learning by doing. Rather than rote textbook recitation, he cultivated an environment where learners engage with the real world, be it through gardening, observation of local geography, or dialogue, mirroring what is now known as experiential and inquiry-based learning. Well, what we need today curriculum models that emphasize critical thinking, creativity, and real-life application of knowledge, not just academic performance measured by standardized tests. Well, number two is the holistic development of the learner. Well, Jose Rizal's approach to education was highly holistic, aiming to nurture not just intellectual ability, ethical sensibility, community awareness, and practical competence. This mirrors today's call for educating the whole child emotionally, socially, and morally, not just academically, okay? What we need today is like educational systems that prioritize socio-emotional learning, values, education, and civic responsibility, most especially in light of rising mental health challenges and civic disengagement among youth, right? Well, number three is culturally responsive and linguistically inclusive teaching. Rizal's advocacy for using the native language in instruction predates the current multilingual educational or the MLE movement, which argues for the inclusion of mother tongues in early education to promote comprehension and cultural identity. His stance challenges the lingering effects of colonial language policies that continue to dominate in many post-colonial societies. So, on education that respects and incorporates indigenous knowledge systems, local language and community systems, community narratives, not just Western paradigms and or dominant language like English. Well, number four, next one is education as resistance and empowerment. Well, Jose Rizal saw education not just a personal enlightenment, but as a form of anti-colonial resistance, right? Like before, he believed in freeing the Filipino mind from colonial indoctrination and cultivating the ability to think independently and act ethically for the good of the community, not for the Spaniards or the colonizers that we have. This vision resonates with decolonizing education, a growing global movement that aims to dismantle the lingering effect of colonialism in knowledge, systems, and pedagogy. What we need today is also maybe a curriculum that promotes critical consciousness, historical awareness, and liberatory education, especially in formerly colonized nations.
While Rizal's educational vision was groundbreaking, it was also constrained by the norms of his time. Its lessons in Dapitan were largely attended by boys, with few opportunities for girls, particularly in sciences and mathematics. This historical limitation reminds us that progressive intent must also challenge existing social barriers. What we need today are policies and practices that actively promote gender equity in all areas of education.
And maybe we should try reclaiming Jose Rizal's legacy for today, right? Jose Rizal's educational philosophy offers both inspiration and critique for today's educational reforms. His vision of education as a tool for national development, moral growth, and critical consciousness continues to resonate, but it also calls us to go further. In our time, we must address the inequities, rigidities, and colonial residues that still shape our schools. Well, to honor Jose Rizal's legacy, we must commit to reimagining education not just for academic achievement, but for liberation, community empowerment, and human dignity.
Tumungo naman tayo sa kung ano ang sinabi ni Rizal about sa processes, purposes, and nature of education. Para kay Rizal, hindi lang simpleng pag-memorize ng mga impormasyon ang edukasyon. Hindi siya pabor sa mga tradisyonal na paraan ng pagkatuto na puro aral na walang laman. Gusto niya na ang mga estudyante ay aktibong nakikibahagi sa kanilang pagkatuto. Hindi lang basta tumatanggap ng mga aralin, kundi nakikilahok at inuunawa ang mga konsepto. Para sa kanya, mahalaga na ang mga estudyante ay nagkakaroon ng kakayahang mag-isip ng kritikal at nagtatanong. Hinihikayat ni Rizal na ang edukasyon ay hindi lang dapat sa isang wikang mahirap intindihin. Kailangan ito ay nakabatay sa wikang nauunawaan ng mga mag-aaral para mas maging makulay at masaya ang pagkatuto. Para kay Rizal, ang edukasyon ay hindi lang pagsagot sa mga tanong sa exam, kundi paghahanda sa buhay mismo. On the purposes of education. Hindi lang pansariling interes ang edukasyon para kay Rizal. Ang tunay na layunin ng edukasyon ay upang mahubog tayo bilang mga responsableng mamamayan. Gusto niyang matutunan ng bawat isa ang mga tamang moral at intelektual na kaalaman para maging mabuting tao at para makatulong sa ating komunidad. Isinusulong niya ang isang komprehensibong edukasyon, hindi lang mga teknikal na kaalaman, kundi pati na rin ang mga aral sa moralidad, pagpapahalaga sa bayan, at pagiging mabuting tao. Binabalanse nito ang lahat ng aspeto ng ating pagkatao. Tinuturuan tayo ng tamang asal at pagpapahalaga sa kapwa habang natututo tayo ng mga bagong kaalaman. On the nature of education. Ang edukasyon para kay Rizal ay isang paraan upang mapalaya ang sarili mula sa kamangmangan. Naniniwala siya na ang edukasyon ay may malaking papel sa pag-angat ng mga Pilipino tungo sa pagiging mas maligaya at mas malaya. Kung edukado tayo, mas kaya nating ipaglaban ang ating mga karapatan at kalayaan. Sa kanyang paaralan sa Dapitan, pinapractice ni Rizal ang participatory learning. Ibig sabihin, hindi lang basta nakikinig ang mga estudyante, kundi sila rin ay aktibong nagtatanong at nag-iisip. Tinuruan niya silang maging responsable at may tiwala sa sarili, at higit sa lahat, may pag-ibig sa bayan. Sa tingin ni Rizal, ang edukasyon ay para sa lahat, at hindi ito dapat ipagkait sa sinuman.
Nature of marginalized education from Rizal's experience in Dapitan. Through history, it is apparent how colonial society did not only sideline Filipino students, it also dismissed native teachers, branding them both as incapable of true learning. But unlike other thinkers of his time, Rizal's response to the marginalization of both Filipino learners and teachers was not limited to his writings. This was proven by his time spent in Talisay, when he established what many consider the first progressive school in Asia. Rizal was exiled to Dapitan in 1892 after being arrested by the Spanish authorities, mainly for his critical writings against his friars and his association with the La Liga Filipina. There, he built a school which was open to local boys who often were considered to still be stellar despite having fewer opportunities and being entirely excluded from the colonial educational system. Rizal's vision was clear. Education should not be a privilege reserved for the elite, but a right accessible to all, especially those at the margins of society. Rizal's school was a living experiment in progressive education, both being radical and innovative for its time. He taught science, math, and several languages, including Spanish, English, and even German and French. But he also emphasized practical skills aligned with the lifestyle and livelihood of the community: agriculture, fishing, carpentry, and even martial arts. This perspective signifies the learning should be holistic, setting up students not just for academic achievement, but for real life. Rejecting rote memorization and harsh discipline, Rizal instead encouraged his students to ask questions, to experiment, to learn by doing. He rewarded effort with books, tools, and sometimes even a simple meal, because he knew that hunger, not laziness, was a real barrier for many. He treated his students as capable, worthy of respect, and full of potential. The school became a community hub where students and teachers worked together to improve their community, building water systems, growing food, and caring for the sick. This then became an excellent model of what is now called community-based education. Through his concrete actions in Talisay, Rizal showed that the so-called indolence of the Filipino was a myth, a product of deep-rooted oppression, not a lack of ability or will, nor cultural or socio-economic deficiency. By empowering the marginalized through education, he planted the seeds for a more just and inclusive society. Isang bayang may mapagbago at mapagpalayang edukasyon.
Ang edukasyon ay hindi nananatili sa loob ng 4 na sulok ng silid-aralan. Ito'y hindi lamang tungkol sa pang-akademikong aspeto ng buhay. Ang edukasyon bilang daan sa pagbabago, pagpapalaya at pagwaksi sa kolonyal na isipan. Makalipas ang daang-daang taon, hindi natin makakalimutan ang pang-aabuso at pagpapakasakit ng mga mananakop, kolonisador at mga imperyalistang bansa sa Pilipinas. Ang mga ito, partikular ang mga Espanyol, ay pilit binura ang mga pinaniniwalaan, kaugalian at mga kasanayan ng mga sinaunang Pilipino. Ang pangyayaring ito ay nagpapakita ng kahalagahan ng edukasyon upang mawaksi ang kabaloktutang ginawa ng mga mananakop sa ating bansa. Ang edukasyon natin ay kinakailangang maging progresibo, kung saan ang mga mag-aaral ay natututo sa pamamagitan ng pagtatanong, pagmamasid at pagdanas sa kanilang lipunan. Sa pamamagitan nito, ang guro ay kapwa mag-aaral at ang mga mag-aaral ay kapwa guro. Sang-ayon sa sinasabi ni Paulo Freire sa Pedagogy of the Oppressed. Ngunit ano nga ba ang mga hakbang upang maging progresibo? Napansin ni Rizal noong panahon ng Espanyol, naging mangmang at sunod-sunuran ng mga Pilipino, sapagkat hindi nila naiintindihan ng wikang Espanyol. Sa kasalukuyan, ang pagpapahinto sa paggamit ng mother tongue bilang wikang gamit sa pagtuturo ay tila pag-uulit sa nangyaring kolonisasyon at paghadlang sa lubos na pagkatuto ng isang mag-aaral. Ang hakbang na ito ay nagpapakita ng pagsunod ng Pilipinas sa pandaigdigang pamantayan na hindi tumutugon sa pangangailangan ng bansa, kundi ihanda ang mga Pilipino para maging murang lakas paggawa sa mga mapang-abuso at kapitalistang bansa. Paanong magiging pag-asa ng bayan ng mga kabataan kung hindi natin sila bibigyan ng isang progresibo, makamasa, mapagpalaya, siyentipiko at dekalidad na edukasyon?